Hey guys, it's Tammy. Welcome to my channel. Today I'm going to fill you in on the perfumes that I wore most in the month of January. What were the standouts? What were my favorite fragrances for the month? Stay tuned to find out. So the first two fragrances that were real standouts in the month of January are both kind of oldies from my collection. One is Decaf Scarlet Maximalist. I've spoken about this on my channel quite a few times. I love it. It's a vanilla that is so fresh. Almost has a pine tree smell to me. There's pineapple and there's fruitiness in it. So it's just a combination of everything fresh and sweet. Oh, it's just so pretty. So the day that I was going to the mainland for my dentist appointment, I chose to wear this fragrance and I got such a compliment from my dentist. And she was saying, your scent, it's intoxicating. Oh my goodness, you smell like Las Vegas. I was like, oh. And she's like, have you ever been to Las Vegas? I'm like, no, I haven't. But she said, you smell like Las Vegas. It's just intoxicating. And she was talking to the other ladies in the room, like, do you smell this? And they're like, oh yeah, I smell it. It smells really good. And I didn't spray heavily. Like I probably sprayed 6 to 8 sprays. I was wearing a big sweater, so I think that it kind of clings to fabric. And my husband actually went away with me that day. He had some errands to run as well, so we made a day of it together. And when I had come down in the morning before we went on the first boat, he also mentioned, he said, you smell really pretty. What is that? I mean, every time I wear this, he compliments me, and I've talked about that in a few videos. It's just such a compliment getter. But to be told by my dentist that she thought I smelled intoxicating and I smelled like Las Vegas, I just thought it was such a compliment. So Decaf Scarlet Maximalist. And the next one that I wore a couple of times this month is one of the oldest fragrances in my collection. And it's always been a favorite. And after wearing it 2 times this month, it really solidified this being like a lifer for me. I'm never going to be without this perfume. It's Juliette Has a Gun, not a perfume. And we had the sad occasion of losing Michael's grandmother this month. And we had a lot of family events that we attended, visitations and the funeral. And since there is someone in Michael's family who has severe allergies and asthma, I decided to wear this because it is completely hypoallergenic. While we were at the visitation, as I was hugging people, I was getting compliments. And I was like, oh, thank you so much. I said, it's hypoallergenic. I just wanted people to know that I wasn't wearing a perfume that would set off someone's asthma attack. But I got so many compliments on this. Everyone thought it smelled absolutely beautiful. And I loved wearing it. And I found it comforting. And it just was perfect for the occasion, just absolutely perfect. If you want something that is just warm and woody and musky, your skin but better, it's clean and fresh, but still cozy, Juliette Has a Gun, not a perfume. This was a winner for the month of January. So in January, I also received a lot of packages that had been held up in the postal strike. So I would say the one that I was most excited to receive was Vanilla Éclat by Navitus in collaboration with Chris from the Perfume Nest. Now, Chris has been my friend for the longest here on YouTube. I have been watching her channel since her very first video. I have not missed one. She has just been such an encouragement to me. She is the one who encouraged me to start a channel. I remember in comment after comment, she was like, girl, you need to start your own channel. And she has always supported me ever since I started my channel. I'm so appreciative, and I'm so proud of this perfume. I think she did an amazing job coming up with the concept for this and fine-tuning it to the way she wanted. And Christian Provenzano is the perfumer, and he did an amazing job. I absolutely love the bottle. I love that gradation. It's so pretty. And the scent is so beautiful. It is warm and cozy. It is my new hug in a bottle scent. The vanilla and the caramel are very sweet and rich, but not overpoweringly sweet. It has amber as well, and that adds to the sweetness. So it's definitely a sweet perfume, but not too sweet, I promise. And I am the queen of, I don't want this perfume to be too sweet. I'm the queen of that, and this is not too sweet for me. The woodiness in here is just perfect. I don't pick up on the cinnamon, thankfully. Like, I'm not a big cinnamon girl, and I knew there were notes of cinnamon and spices, so I was a little bit worried, but I don't really get cinnamon. I get more of just a warmth, like kind of the warmth you feel from cinnamon, but without that sharpness and spiciness. And you're getting a butteriness from the buttermilk and the caramel. And you're also getting a ton of woodiness. It is a powdery, cozy type of woodiness. It's a sandalwood. I mostly get the sandalwood. I'm not an expert on Gaiac wood, so I'm not sure, but it definitely does have a beautiful woodiness. And of course, that basmati rice. And I've heard people say that it comes across to them a little bit like a popcorn note. And I can see what they're saying with that. And as I mentioned in a recent video, I love fragrances with a popcorn vibe. It's just so balanced. It's so perfect for me. It's not too sweet for me. I've worn it a couple of times and I've even worn it to bed and it was so cozy. It's a hug in a bottle. I love it. Amazing. Vanilla Éclat. So sticking with my new additions, another one that I wore a couple of times in January is Mula by Byron Perfumes. And as I mentioned in my haul video, this is just an absolute joy to wear. I get caramel, I get berries, I get oud. And that is, in a nutshell, what I get from it. It just brings me so much joy. My husband and I went out to supper with another couple and there was a trivia night right after. I wore this. And that night I actually layered it with another one of my new additions. And this is Initio Magnetic Blend 7. And they layered perfectly together. And then I also wore this on its own. Oh my word. There's a fragrance that this reminds me of and I have not thought of it yet, but I will. Eventually I will think of it. The closest I can come right now is something like Molecule 04, something like Glossier You Missing Person vibes, but not. Sort of reminds me a little bit of the Deep Dry Down of Guidance by Amouage. Just that woodiness. Reminds me of the musk that's in Mojave Ghost. Anyway, it's just a soft, pretty, woody musk, clean, and your skin but better. I have been loving this. I also wore Exclusive Saffron by Maison Alhambra, and this is meant to be similar to Saffron Lazuli by Carolina Herrera. And it's also quite similar to Cavort by Fragrance Du Bois, and so I'm currently like testing and comparing just to see if they are similar enough that I would not need Cavort. As of now, Cavort is still winning. I do get something that is a little spicier in this than I would like, but when I'm wearing it, it's a very nice wearing experience. So I have been enjoying this one. I also picked up Musc Nude by Narciso Rodriguez, and I actually have worn this a couple times. I wore it to bed the other night, and it was a real hit with my husband. He said it was really pretty on me. I'm still not sure what I think of this. I mentioned in my haul video that this was like every Narciso I've ever smelled all rolled into one. I get little hints of so many of the Narciso Rodriguez fragrances in this. A lot of the Musc Noir, a lot of the Musc Noir Rose, even Narciso Rouge. I got the Narciso Original EDP. The only thing is there is a little bit of a wintergreen, licorice, sort of muscle rub smell that I get in it. So if that sort of wintergreen muscle rub smell does not calm down, I could see this being a declutter someday. Yeah, I'm still making my mind up about Musc Nude. I also wore Nest Vanilla Bourbon, which was another new purchase for me. And this is one that I almost passed by and I'm glad I didn't. It is a beautiful, beautiful, buttery, creamy jasmine vanilla smell. I wore this twice in January and it got amazing reviews from my husband. He said he had never smelled a fragrance that he loved this much on me. And you guys, I'm sorry if I am repeating myself because you heard a lot of this in my haul video, but these are the ones that I wore the most in January. There were also another couple of travel sizes that I wore in January. Commodity Milk Bold, which is really nice. I enjoyed this one, and also Golden Brule by Phlur. And this one I didn't love as much. It's okay. The orange flower water that's in here is the strongest note to me. Yeah, I don't think, no, it's not a love for me. It's very orangey. It's a very orangey scent to me. But I'm glad to have it and I'm glad to play around with it. So something that I did a little differently in the month of January was I picked a fragrance note and I looked through all of my samples and I chose the fragrances which that was the dominant note in those fragrances, and I compared them all. I was thinking, why have thousands of samples if I'm not going to use them? And, you know, make some final decisions on whether I'm going to actually purchase these fragrances or not. And so the first note I picked was peach. And I am not someone who struggles with peach at all. I love peach in fragrances. I don't think there's ever been a fragrance that has a dominant note of peach that I don't love. And I was thinking, like, I have all of these samples. Why not do a wear test each day? Just completely empty my sample if need be and choose which one of these, if I had to choose one to purchase, which would it be? And then just put that one on my wish list. And then when I see a good deal come up on it, then I could go ahead and purchase it. So yeah, peach was the first note that I selected. And so for a solid week, I went through my samples, I picked out all the peachy fragrances, and I compared them one day at a time, and I made notes and figured out which was my favorite out of these. I started out with Bonbon Pop by the House of Oud. And I've always known that I love this one. I have reviewed this one in a previous sample sniff video. And in that video, I talked about how it gave me a vibe of being outdoors, you know, wearing a gingham dress, just, you know, spinning around in a field of yellow grasses. And then I sat down on a gingham blanket in this field and had a lovely picnic with all of the juicy mangoes and peaches that you'd ever dream of. So the day I wore this, it made me smile all day. And I thought, this one is gonna be hard to beat. It's very peachy and juicy, but it's deep and ambery too. And the type of patchouli that's in here gives me that very outdoorsy vibe. It's sort of a fresh type of patchouli. So day 2, I wore Gossip Night by Gritti. And I really liked this one too. It's not that I didn't like it, but it goes very candy-like. It's sort of like, you know, sour peach rings. It's not a fresh, juicy peach. It's more of a deep, sweet, candy-like, almost ambery peach. Now, I had sprayed this in the living room, and about a half hour later, my husband came home and he said, "Did you use the bathroom and spray air freshener to cover it up?" I said, "No, I think it's my perfume." He was not a fan of this one, and it is different. It's really different, but I really liked it. It didn't quite beat out Bonbon Pop though. Now, Narco Oasis by Narcotica, I didn't do a full wear test of this, but the day I wore Gossip Night, I also compared Bonbon Pop and Narco Oasis on my hands, and I just found Narco Oasis to be much more tart and sour and unsweet. It did get sweeter over time, and I did like it, but it was more of a realistic, fresh squeezed orange juice. It just was not as good as Bonbon Pop to me. Also, Bonbon Pop and Gossip Night both lasted about 8 hours on me. They were very strong, very long lasting. Now, day 3, I wore Sarah Baker Peach's Revenge, and I also enjoyed this one. It was really good. I found this to be almost a cross between Gossip Night and Narco Oasis, if you put those two together. So it was sort of like Gossip Night, but much less artificial and candy-like. It was sort of like Narco Oasis, but not as tart and sour, but still had that realistic juicy smell to it. I had tested this in a sample sniff video a while back, and when I tried it this time, I liked it a lot more than I remember liking it the first time. It didn't project as much as the other two, and it did not last as long as the other two. So if I had to choose, I would still stay with Bonbon Pop. Day 4, I wore Nectar de Pêche by Nicole Miller. Ever since the first time I smelled this one, when I got a sample from Scentbird, I knew that I would probably have, a full bottle someday, and I probably will, but I decided to go with a decant next. This was the prettiest peach. This was a very princessy peach, reminded me of Princess Peach. It was light and fresh and juicy and sparkling, so girly, so princessy, very, very, very likable. So kind of crowd pleasing, but yet special. What I had actually written about this, it reminded me of having a crystal glass with a peach Kool-Aid punch with sparkling apple wine. So it would be perfect for wearing to the beach. It would be perfect for summer. It's very young and girly, but yet in a royal way. It's like not the queen, but it's the princess, you know? I just love this one, but it is so light and it is not long lasting at all. I probably may end up with a full bottle of this someday, but it sort of was in a different category than these other peach fragrances. Bonbon Pop was still the leader at this point. Day 5 of peachy fragrances was Kirke by Tiziana Terenzi. And I really love this one. I've always enjoyed this every time I've ever tried it. Now, my husband said this smelled like urinal cakes. That did not impress me. But this lasted more than 8 hours on me, and I enjoyed it all day long. I was catching whiffs all day. It's sweet and peachy and juicy and yummy, but it's like very rich and very potent. And it gives me the Trident gum vibes. I do get the peach Trident gum vibes from this and from Bonbon Pop. There are a lot of fragrances that are fruity and musky together that make me think of fruity Trident gum. I absolutely love this. Now, when I was comparing these, in my head, Bonbon Pop was still the winner. Honestly, I love peach so much, I wouldn't mind having a full bottle of all of these. I think if I had to choose, I still would go with Bonbon Pop. And I actually saw it on Fragrance Buy for a really, really good price, and it was out of stock. So I signed up to be notified when it came in stock, and I got an email And I went to it and it was a higher price than what it was before. And I thought, I'm gonna keep my eye on this, and if a really good deal comes up and if it's getting closer to summertime, which I feel like that is when I would feel like wearing Bonbon Pop, then I'm gonna go for a full bottle of that. So I'm trying to decide what note am I going to do in February. I want to go through my samples and use them to decide, am I gonna buy a full bottle of something? Is it gonna go on my wish list or not? There were a couple of samples that I actually wore the last couple days of the month. One is today. I'm wearing Latin Lover by Carner Barcelona, and I'm thinking about a full bottle of that. But the one I wore yesterday, I had sprayed it on my hand a couple of days ago, and I decided to do a full wear test yesterday, and I was so in love with it. And I actually just ordered a full bottle of Al Contrario. It's unbelievable. I absolutely am in love with it. So yeah, a full bottle, and I found an amazing deal on fragrancebuy.ca. They seem to have the best deals, at least from what I can find. So there may have been a few other fragrances that I wore in January, not necessarily noteworthy. Oh, I did tell you guys I was gonna sneak some sprays from my husband's fragrance tray, and I have been. I did wear Artisan Cedar one day and did a full wear test on it, and it was nice. A very nice, light, fresh, woody scent, but it just didn't feel like me. And another day I wore one that he's been wearing so much lately in the past week or so, and I am in love with it on him, and this is Wood by Distillery General, another TJ Maxx find. And oh my gosh, it's so good. It's woody, it's musky, it's sexy. I love it, and I loved wearing this one. So these were the fragrances that I wore in January that really stood out to me, that I really enjoyed wearing the most. And I'd love to know, did you guys have a standout fragrance for the month of January? Let me know in the comments below. I so appreciate you guys taking your time and spending it with me. I really, really do. Thank you for clicking, thank you for watching, and I'll see you in the next one. Bye. Okay, you guys, if you have reached the end of this video, you are officially part of the secret 2K giveaway. I was so excited to hit 2K subscribers, and I just thought I would do a little giveaway for you guys. The story behind this is that when I ordered Vanilla Éclat from Navitus, it was about a month before they actually shipped it after I placed the order because of the Canada Post strike, and then they told me it was shipped. And the free gift that I had selected was Lost in a Dream for the body spray. And so they told me it had shipped, and then about almost 2 weeks later, they said, oh, the free gift you selected is out of stock. And I thought, well, I thought it had already shipped, but they wanted me to select a different one, so I did. And I chose a More Infinite because I also reviewed that sample on my channel, and you guys know I loved that one. And I never even noticed until a couple of days ago. I just didn't even look at this, but it had arrived, and it's Ambrosia Imperial. Now I have a sample of that, and it's not my favorite because I'm not a huge fan of banana in fragrance. So here's the body spray, and I did not even spray it because I happened to notice the name. I can smell a little bit of smokiness from it, but I have not sprayed this, and the value of this bottle is $95. This is for Canada or the US. So if you want to be entered in the giveaway, please make sure that you're subscribed to the channel and you like this video. And in your comment, I'll get you to leave a certain symbol. I'll put it on the screen. And it's probably going to be maybe a pink flower, I would say, because I'm looking at my tulips here, and they're so pretty. And look, there's my daughter. She's always peeking over my shoulder. How about if I post the winner on Valentine's Day, and I'll post on my community tab so you'll know for sure who won. So don't fall for any scammers trying to tell you, oh, you've won, give me your visa or something. Don't fall for any of that. So good luck, guys, and thanks for watching. Bye.